afternoon Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference matchup between the visiting Red Hawks of Indiana Northwest University and your Fighting Saints. At this time, we ask that you please rise and gentlemen kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. At this time, let's meet this afternoon's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Red Hawks. Senior guard, number 2, Malik Miller. Freshman guard, number 3, Nikki Fletcher. Senior forward, number 23, Jared Johnson. Junior forward, number 25, Isaac Stanback. And the senior forward, number 34, Jimmy Washington. The Red Hawks are coached by Javier Heredia. And now, the starting lineup for your Fighting Saints. The 5'9" junior guard out of New York, number 1, Jalen Raynow. The senior guard out of Miami, Florida, number 55, Darius Wright. The 6'3" junior guard out of Israel, number 4, Nadav Gerner. The 6'8" junior forward out of Spain, number 21, Aitor Inabitarte. And the 6'4" graduate forward out of Macomb, Illinois, number 32, Carter Fahey. Your Fighting Saints are coached by Ryan Marks.
Good afternoon from the Sullivan Center on the campus of the University of St. Francis in Joliet, Illinois. We're ready for some Saturday afternoon CCAC basketball. The Fighting Saints of St. Francis take on the Indiana University Northwest Red Hawks. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for today's game. The Fighting Saints trying to win their second consecutive contest after a thumping of Eureka last week here at home. They take on a scuffling Indiana Northwest team. The Red Hawks have dropped their last 3 games in a row and come in with a record of just 2-6 overall this year. The opening tip is won by the team in black. Indiana Northwest going from left to right here in the first half. The Fighting Saints are in their home whites and going from right to left. Set up by Indiana Northwest point guard Malik Miller. Miller hands it off to Jared Johnson, the leading scorer this year for Indiana Northwest. There's a spin from Stanback inside. He lays it in. That's Isaac Stanback, junior out of Chicago, Illinois, has the first points of the game here for the Red Hawks. It's 2-0 in favor of the visiting side. Jalen Raynow is making his first start of the year for the Fighting Saints. He passes up top to Darius Wright. Nadav Gerner, the third member of the backcourt, receives it on the left wing, gets up to the center, Aitor Inabitarte. Carter Fahey, the fifth and final starter, backs down with 4 on the shot clock. Turnaround jumper is good from close range. Nice work in the post from the senior Carter Fahey. We're tied at 2 as each team has been successful on their first possession of the game. Jimmy Washington, Isaac Stanback, Jared Johnson, Nikki Flesher, Malik Miller, the starting five for Javier Heredia's team today. Three-pointer misses from Flesher, but there's Stanback with the follow. Isaac Stanback has the first four for Indiana Northwest. Got that one off of an offensive rebound. Saints responded last time. Let's see if they can do it again right here. Anabatarte from the outside, thought about the three. Instead puts it on the floor, takes it down the lane, clears a little space for himself, and hits the little turnaround. The big man getting it done early for the Fighting Saints. Both Anabatarte and Fahey have converted from close range. Now a near steal. It is a steal. Poked free by Darius Wright and into the waiting hands of Nadav Gerner. Reno fires the three, misses it short. And the rebound is grabbed by Jared Johnson. Johnson is a senior forward who came into play today averaging 20 points and 6 rebounds a game, but today Stanback has been the offense for Indiana Northwest. Senior forward lays that one in for his third bucket of the game. Actually, just a junior, sorry. Stanback has all 6 on 3 of 3 shooting for the Redhawks tonight. Saints have responded after each of the previous IU Northwest field goals. See if they can do it again. They cannot. Carter Fahey turns it over. Picked up by Flesher and lobbed ahead for Malik Miller. Miller pulls up from the elbow. His jumper rattles around and does not fall. Rebound St. Francis. Not yet 3 minutes into this game. An up-tempo start as the two teams have traded baskets early on. Knocked free and out of bounds. That'll stick with St. Francis. 19 on the shot clock. Jimmy Washington got his hand on the ball but couldn't convert the steal. Reno is the inbounder and he gets it to Carter Fahey. To the cutting right, layup high off the glass. Yes, and a foul. Foul called on Jared Johnson as Darius Wright gets a chance at a three-point play. Good cut from Darius Wright, freeing himself up inside for the layup and his first points today. First foul of the game on either team as Darius Wright's free throw does not go. So the Saints remain tied. They have not led yet very early in this first half. Stanback's got all 6 for the Redhawks. Looking for a few more. Gets inside, misses underneath, and the rebound is tipped out to Carter Fahey. Bounce for Darius Wright, layup good, and the Saints do lead for the first time. Darius Wright has the last 4 for St. Francis. Miller tiptoes along the sideline, barely stays in. Gets it out to Flesher. Flesher penetrates, floats it with the right hand and misses. Fahey takes it the other way. Darius Wright pulls up at the three-point line. Jumper is good. Darius Wright for 3. He's got 7 points for St. Francis. And we've got a timeout called. 16:29 to play in the first half. Good offensive start to this game. 3 straight field goals for Isaac Stanback. Kept Indiana Northwest in front for the first few minutes, but Darius Wright has come to life. He's scored the last 7 for the Fighting Saints and helped his team to a 5-point lead after 3.5 minutes. Both teams off to good offensive starts. Although the Saints defense has clamped down on the Redhawks offense the last few possessions, forcing a few misses and a few turnovers. Starters remain on the floor for Javier Heredia after the timeout. Saints don't make any changes either. Here we go, Indiana Northwest basketball. Malik Miller, senior ball handler. Nikki Flesher, number 3 for Indiana Northwest, is a freshman. The rest of the lineup is made of upperclassmen. 3 seniors and a junior. Here is the freshman Miller from the corner. Off the rim on the three-pointer. Offensive rebound Jared Johnson, who stays in bounds. Here's Malik Miller crossing over to the right. Miller working inside. Bounces in the posts to Washington, who's fouled by Darius Wright.
St. Francis foul number 55, Darius Wright, his first, team first.
Jimmy Washington's got about 8 inches on Darius Wright, who is guarding him, and Wright got a little handsy in trying to make up the size disadvantage. Substitutions coming on. Von Lillard in for the first time for Indiana Northwest. So is Javion Reed. Malik Miller, no-look pass to Lillard. This is Lillard in the post, nearly knocked away by Annabeth Arte. 4 on the shot clock. Bounces to the cutting Miller, and it's ripped away by Nadav Gerner. Ahead for Wright, another three-pointer. Not this time. Wright had scored 7 straight points in this game. He still has scored 7 straight points in this game, but he couldn't make it an individual 10-0 run on that shot. Miller trapped across half court, but gets it away. Standback for 3. No good. Standback has all the points so far for the Red Hawks, but he's missed his last 2 attempts as well. Fast offensive start. It has slowed down a little bit. It's all right with the Saints. They've got the 5-point lead. Carter Fahey makes a move around Johnson and scores off the backboard. Second time today that Carter Fahey has looked very good working down low. He's got 2 buckets, and Nadav Gerner has 1 foul as he bumps Jared Johnson along the sideline. First foul called today. I think that'll send Gerner to the bench as 3 Fighting Saints take off their warm-up shirts. Justin Phillips is checking in. Lewis McGlasson coming back on as well, or on for the first time. This is the first substitution the Saints are making today. And Ben Kritz enters today's contest as well, number 12, playing down low. Haven't seen a lot of Kritz this year. He's played just 17 minutes total. There's a layup. And 2 points for Indiana Northwest. Javion Reed is the first non-standback Red Hawk to score today. They'll need some non-standback contributions considering he's on the bench right now. This is Kritz getting his first touch. Handing off to Wright. Darius Wright, long 2 is good. 9 points already in the game for Darius Wright. Saints lead is back up to 5. Wright has scored 9 of the last 11 points that St. Francis has put on the board. Reed bounces to the left, drives, tries to spin around McGlasson. McGlasson had good D on him, and he didn't know how to respond. Traveling called on Javion Reed. Eric Martin is in the game for Indiana Northwest. Trey Steinhilber is on the floor as well. Fahey receives the pass down low, short arms it. Here come the Red Hawks. Steinhilber passes to Martin. On the drive, Martin is blocked by Ben Kritz. Saints want to run here. It's McGlasson out in front of the pack. 3-pointer, short. Fight for the rebound, and it is saved by Javion Reed. Kept alive for the Red Hawks. Johnson threads the needle on the pass. It's deflected back to him, and he got the timeout in before he fell out of bounds. So timeout Indiana Northwest. 13:33 to play in the first half. Second timeout used up by the Red Hawks, and that time Jared Johnson was just barely able to get it called. A risky pass, trying to thread it between a couple of St. Francis defenders, but he got it there. Got it maybe a little bit too fast. It was hard to see with those defenders in the way. And so the pass ricocheted right back to Johnson, who saved it from going out of bounds, but called timeout while diving on the floor and keeping it in. Still Indiana Northwest basketball as we come out of this timeout. And the Saints use the stoppage to bring in a few more subs. Jake Carley is on the floor, as is Kazmir Ochiaka. Have to reset the shot clock. This is not a new possession. So we go down to 20. Inbound it to the backcourt. It's the freshman Trey Steinhilber. Lobbed inside. Nice catch by Von Lillard, and he's able to finish with the lay-in. Von Lillard has his first points today. Red Hawks are keeping it close here, down by 5. Carley in the corner. Around a screen from Ochiaka. Pulls up for a 2-point jumper. Misses it short. Offensive rebound. Ben Kritz. No good on the putback. Third chance. Kazmir Ochiaka is fouled. Ochiaka to the free throw line. Back-to-back offensive rebounds for the Fighting Saints. Ochiaka just 1 of 5 from the line so far. And he misses his first today. "17% foul shooter so far this year." That's a number he's trying to turn around, at least to start to turn around right here. And it's an air ball. Well, that'll drop him to 14%. 1 for 7 so far on the season from the line. Here's Martin. Steinhilber up to Stanback, who just checked back in. Stanback kicks it outside. Steinhilber works around a couple of defenders and lays it in. Nice move by the freshman Steinhilber. Fighting Saints basketball. Just about 12.5 minutes to play in the first half. Still pretty early here. Saints have led most of the early going. Ochiaka guarded by Lillard in the post. Backing down, turns around, and goes to the line. First foul on Lillard. As we just saw in the last possession, sending Ochiaka to the free throw line. Not a terrible defensive strategy, especially if Ochiaka's got good positioning in the paint as he did before. So 2 shots here for the senior, looking for his first points of the game. Doesn't get it on that one. Second shot is good from Ochiaka. So he makes 1 of 4 on his back-to-back trips to the line. His first point today. Saints lead by 4. This is Washington driving. Washington up off the side of the backboard. St. Francis takes possession. Phillips from the corner walks the baseline, kicks it out to Jake Carley. 3-pointers, an air ball. Offensive rebound. Ochiaka back up, rolls around the rim, doesn't go. And the rebound goes to Davion Washington. I referred to Washington as Eric Martin earlier. Had that name wrong. Got a foul on the Fighting Saints. And number 35 in black is Davion Washington. Von Lillard is headed to the free throw line. First shot from him is good. One more coming for Lillard, third leading scorer on the team. Came in averaging 13 points per game, primarily as a starter, but coming off the bench today against St. Francis. Back-to-back free throws made by Lillard. He's got his first 2 points of the afternoon. Lead was as high as 7. It's down to 2 for the Fighting Saints. Still early as Louis McGlasson takes it up top and bounces to Ben Kritz. Ryan LaFollette guarding Louis McGlasson. Step back, fadeaway misses. And the rebound goes to Lillard. Saints have gotten cold from the field over the last few minutes. Playing with 5 reserves for the moment. Lillard tries to get it to Stanback. It's not a good pass. Taken away by the Fighting Saints. Phillips going the other way, draws the foul. Trey Steinhilber's first foul. It is number 4 on the Redhawks, and it sends Justin Phillips to the free throw stripe. First shot from Phillips misses. Not a good sign for St. Francis today. Their struggles from the free throw line. They are a combined 1 of 5 so far. Phillips misses the second. Rebound goes to Indiana Northwest. This is Keon Lane. Both teams have gone deep into the bench here in the first half. We've seen at least 10 players already from both sides. Lane passes off to his left. This is Steinhilber with the shot clock at 7. Stanback, backing in on Kritz, makes a move inside and puts it in with the right hand. First point since the first couple of minutes for Isaac Stanback. who scored the first 6 for Indiana Northwest. He's got 8 now for the game. Phillips wings it across to Kritz. 3-point attempt is good. Sophomore forward Ben Kritz hits his first 3-pointer this year. And the Saints reclaim the lead, 19-16. Stand back, inside, kicks it back out. This is Lane for 3, no good. Rebound back into the hands of Lane, steps in, misses the second attempt. Rebound Saints. Ochiaka with his back to the basket, guarded by Lane. Turns around, banks it, off the rim, no good. This is La Follette on the other end. La Follette opens himself up for 3. It rolls around, does not fall. Offensive rebound, and the putback is good from Von Lillard as Casimir Ochiaka is shaken up. Ochiaka went down awkwardly after the initial missed shot. And because he fell down, that left a wide open rebounding lane for Von Lillard, who grabbed the miss and put it right back in. So insult to injury for the Fighting Saints. Indiana Northwest is within 1. Ochiaka stumbles to the bench. Carter Fahey is back in. Jared Johnson returns to the floor for Indiana Northwest. He's been quiet to start today's game, but the leading scorer for Indiana Northwest on the season. So we'll keep an eye on him, wearing number 23. Nice move by Phillips. Spins around 2 defenders, but blocked at the rim by Standback. We're going the other way. It's Johnson, layup good. Nice transition bucket for the Redhawks, and they lead 20-19. First lead for them since it was 6-4. We're at the 9-minute mark of the first half. Here's Carter Fahey. Fahey up top for Jake Carley. Carley puts it on the floor, kicks it back out. Kritz, another 3-pointer. This one misses short, and the rebound goes to Isaac Standback. Fired ahead. La Follette backs it back outside. Around to Johnson. Lob down low for Standback. Ball is knocked around a little bit, but Standback's able to grab it, score, and draw the contact. Foul called on the Fighting Saints. Great first half today for Isaac Standback, who's already in double figures. Carter Fahey is called for his first foul as the starters return to the floor for the Fighting Saints. One shot here for Standback, trying to make it a 3-point play. Standback's not a good free throw shooter. And it shows on the attempt right there. So it's a 3-point lead for Indiana Northwest, still their largest of the afternoon so far. Saints have led by as many as 7. Ball poked loose. Miller knocks it away from Carter Fahey. Miller takes it the other way with Annabeth Arte following behind. Miller shows no fear and lays it in. Timeout called by St. Francis. It's a 5-point game. Indiana Northwest on top. Good run here for the Redhawks. They've scored 8 consecutive points. And after trailing 16-9, they've gone on a 15-3 run overall. This is an Indiana Northwest team that has been good in the past. They were certainly competitive a year ago, beat the Saints a couple of times. Their record has not been impressive so far this season. Well, that record might be a little misleading. They're just 2-6. One of their losses came in double overtime. Another was a 2-point game. Granted, one of their wins was a triple overtime affair, so those coin flip games have gone either way. They played a lot of close ones to start this season. And by and large, the results have gone against them. Still plenty of time to turn it around, though. They are 2-1 in conference. 0-5 against non-CCAC opponents. Gerner takes a step in on Miller. Kicks it out to Fahey. Carter Fahey for 3. Got it. Carter Fahey's got 7 points for the Fighting Saints. Lane looks for a quick answer on the other end. Can't get it, and a loose ball foul is called on the Red Hawks. The first foul on Isaac Standback, who is the game's leading scorer so far with 10 points. Darius Wright is guarded by Ray Yagelski. Yet another sub used by Indiana Northwest in this first half. Nadav Gerner back to Fahey, tries another three, and he hits his second in a row. After an 8-0 run from Indiana Northwest, Carter Fahey has gone on a personal 6-0 run. He's got 10 points now. Standback looking to surpass him on the game's leaderboard, but he's short on the fadeaway. Saints by a point with the ball back. 7 minutes to go in the first half. Wright dribbles to his left. Darius Wright drives, layup good. Darius Wright has had a huge first half. Wright and Fahey have carried the day for the Fighting Saints as Nadav Gerner knocks that pass out of bounds. 3-point lead for the Fighting Saints. Red Hawks basketball from the sideline. Fired inside off the fingertips of Von Lillard and out of bounds. Malik Miller checks out. Trey Steinhilber back in for Indiana Northwest. Darius Wright on the wing. Passes up top. Aitor Anabatarte. Over to Reno. Fighting Saints move the ball around the perimeter. Ball now in the hands of Carter Fahey. Fahey starts to make a move, steps back, jumper is good. Carter Fahey is heating up. 12 points here in the first half. He and Darius Wright have combined for 23 of the Saints' 27. Jumper for Lillard is good on the turnaround. We're back to where we were at the beginning of this game with the two teams swapping buckets. That snaps a 10-0 St. Francis run. Prior to that, an 8-0 run for the Red Hawks. Too hard off the glass for Carter Fahey. Indiana takes it the other way. Layup from Flesher misses. And it's pulled down by Anabatarte. Gerner leads the break. Down to the corner, Reno fakes the three. Brings it inside, kicks out to Gerner. He tries that three-pointer from the corner, and it's an air ball. Now the Red Hawks have a chance to slow it down a bit. Pace got a little out of control for a moment. Yagelski hassled by Gerner and knocked out of bounds. 19 on the shot clock. It's still Indiana Northwest ball. Three-point attempt. Misses from Yagelski. Rebound tapped in the hands of Jared Johnson. Nice pass inside, but Steinhilber can't finish. Fahey steps into the pass to Anabatarte, who rolls it around and in. Carter Fahey feigned the shot, and in the same motion, fired a beauty to Anabatarte down low. He's got his second bucket. Saints lead is back up to 5. They led by 7, they trailed by 5. And now up by 5 points again. Knocked out of bounds off of Indiana Northwest. Saints ball. Reno steps back, three-point attempt, off the mark, and the rebound knocked out of bounds by Johnson. Still Saints basketball. That three-point attempt did not get the rim, I don't think. Shot clock is set to 20. I'm not sure if that's where it was or if it reset there because it did hit the rim. Either way, that's how much time the Saints have. Fahey doesn't use up a lot of it as he jump shot. He misses his jump shot, I should say. Flesher on the other end, whips it across court and back around to the top. Lillard underneath, lays it in. Von Lillard has played well off the bench. That's his third bucket. Reno, lob down low, Anabadarte. Under 4 minutes to play in the first. Aitor working hard against Jared Johnson. He's fouled across the arm by Johnson. Back to the free throw line for the Fighting Saints. This has not been a hospitable location for them today, but Aitor Anabadarte has been far and away their best foul shooter this year. 85%, and he's also shot almost 2 times the amount of anybody else on the team. So he makes the first one. It's been a great bounce back season for Aitor Anabadarte after missing all of last year with an injury. Came into play today, second on the team, averaging 13.5 points per game. He leads the team with 10 rebounds per contest. A little bit bigger down low in today's game because for the second straight time, the Saints are playing without usual starting forward E.J. Charles, who got hurt last Saturday night. Ibrahim Mobayed is in. Standback blows past him, but misses the layup. Here comes Darius Wright. Bounce down low for Mobayed, hand off to Gerner. Outside McGlasson. Saints work it around. Mobayed backing in on Standback, up with the right hand, off the back iron, doesn't get the roll. Standback over to Washington. Cross court, Standback once again. And a foul called on Darius Wright, grabbing Isaac Standback as he went by.
St. Francis foul number 55, Darius Wright.
That's the 6th. Make that the 5th on St. Francis. So it does not send the Redhawks to the free throw line yet. Carly and Phillips back in. Four subs on the floor, along with Aitor Anabadarte for St. Francis. Here's Lillard, jumper, too strong, rebound Anabadarte. Phillips on the push, ahead to Jake Carly, one dribble, shot, good. A three-pointer for Jake Carly, his first points today. The Saints have their largest advantage now at 8. Standback, stuck in the corner, working against Phillips. Starts to make his way to the basket, spins inside, blocked by 3 Saints. Phillips, Mobayed, and Anabadarte were all in on it. In the corner, Carly for 3, no. Rebound tipped towards the sideline, chased down by Davion Washington, who stepped out of bounds. That one was going to be off of the Saints if Washington had just let it go, but he saw an advantage if he grabbed it and broke down the sideline. Instead, he stepped on that line and he gave possession right back to the Fighting Saints. Because he was on the line as he pulled that ball in, he never officially took possession. So the shot clock doesn't go to the full 30 for St. Francis. It's at 20. And it is not officially a turnover for Indiana Northwest, even though it effectively amounts to one. Jake Carly drives past Flesher to the rim, misses the layup. And on the rebound, a loose ball foul called on Mobayed. Number 6 on St. Francis. So the next one will send Indiana Northwest to the free throw line. Fahey and Ben Kritz back in for the Fighting Saints. Kritz for the second straight game, getting some good minutes for the Fighting Saints. Some of those came in the blowout win against Eureka last Sunday, but E.J. Charles was not in the lineup that day, as he is not today. So as long as Charles is out, the sophomore forward figures to get a little more run. Steinhilber passes off to his right. Up top, Lillard finds Javion Reed. Reed pulls up, passes outside. Steinhilber for three. No. Rebound, Carter Fahey. Good box out. Took Isaac Stanback out of the play. Fahey's had a huge first half. He lobs it down low for McGlasson, whose layup is blocked, but a foul is called. And Lewis McGlasson is going to the line.
Indiana Northwest foul number 34, Jimmy Washington, his first.
First foul on Jimmy Washington, sixth on the team, so both sides have hit their foul limit for the first half. McGlasson looking for his first point today, doesn't have it. Saints have not been good on free throws so far. Aitor Anabatarte straightened things out by making both of his a minute ago. Now McGlasson makes one of two. 9-point lead for St. Francis. It continues to grow. They trailed 24-19. 18-4 since run since then. Bounce down low, move by Stanback. Turnaround is good.
Isaac Stanback.
Here's Jake Carley up top to Ben Kritz, over around to the right wing. This is Phillips. Final minute of play, first half. McGlasson jacks up a long three, no good. Rebounded by Malik Miller. Inside, good from Von Lillard off the feed from Javion Reed. Reed got caught in the air, stuck a little bit, but he was able to get a good pass off, and Lillard made a good move to score. He's got 8. Fahey backing it on Stanback, knocked loose by Stanback, and Isaac Stanback comes away with the steal. Stanback takes it all the way in, steps around McGlasson, misses. Rebound tipped right back out to him. Another chance for Indiana Northwest, and a foul called as Malik Miller flies to the basket. He'll fly back to the free throw line now. 19.7 seconds to play in the first half.
St. Francis foul number 33, Lewis McGlasson, his first, team 7th.
2 shots for Malik Miller here, 55% shooter. He misses the first one here. This has not exactly been a free throw shooting clinic today's game. But it's not exactly unexpected either. A lot of the guys who have gone to the line have been low percentage guys all year. Another chance for Miller, and the second one is good. Last possession of the half for St. Francis. Their 9-point lead is quickly down to 4 after 5 straight scored by Indiana Northwest. But the Saints can score the final points of the half. Jake Carley with 7 seconds. Ben Kritz hands it off to Carter Fahey. Fahey's got 3. Fahey working around the outside, has to throw up the three-pointer, rims out, and that's the end of the first half. Back and forth, both teams went on a few runs, but the Saints led the majority of the way, up by as many as 9 just a minute or so ago. The lead is down to 4 as we head into the break, 37-33. St. Francis on top. I'll step aside for 15 minutes. Back with the second half in just a little bit. Saints have the lead. Halftime at the Sullivan Center. We'll be starting half number 2 presently. Terry Bonadano with you for another 20 minutes of basketball as St. Francis tries to wrap up their second consecutive win. They've got a lead at halftime over Indiana Northwest, 37-33. They led the majority of the first half, but we saw a little bit of back and forth, a couple of long runs from each team, and the Saints saw their biggest lead of the game just before halftime at 37-28, but Indiana Northwest ended the half on a 5-0 run. It's really been a two-man game for both teams. You look at St. Francis, those two men are Darius Wright and Carter Fahey. The two of them have combined to score 23 points on 10 of 15 shooting. The rest of the team has a combined 14 points on 4 of 20 from the field. As for Indiana Northwest, their two men have been Isaac Standback and Von Lillard. Those two have 24 total points on 11 of 18 shooting. The rest of the team has 9 points on 4 of 18 shooting. The overall stats pretty similar, 42% shooting for Indiana Northwest, 40% for the Fighting Saints. Very close in rebounds, pretty close in turnovers. Saints have the big advantage in outside shooting, 5 of 15 from beyond the arc. Indiana Northwest hasn't hit a three-pointer yet. They're 0 for 7. We're ready to start the second half. Aitor Anabadarte will inbound to Jalen Reno, and away we go. 5 starters are on the floor for both teams. Saints look to strike first and add to their 4-point edge. It's Darius Wright with the ball in his hands. Wright passes off to Reno. Lob down low, Anabadarte. He scored 6 points in the first half. He played well. Misses on the first attempt here, but grabs his own miss, scores, and one. Yeah, it's funny, I mentioned that it's been essentially a two-man game for St. Francis. Carter Fahey, Darius Wright. Aitor Anabadarte might have something to say about that. He's closing in on a double-double here. He's got 8 points and 8 rebounds. His 8 rebounds are a game high. Trying to improve to 3 of 3 on the line today, and he does. 7-point lead for the Fighting Saints. Anabadarte's now got 9 points for the ball game. Indiana Northwest takes possession. Jared Johnson loses the ball, gets it back. Passes to the cutting Standback. Isaac Standback inside Jimmy Washington, who lays it in. First points of the game, first shot of the game for Jimmy Washington, who started but played only 6 minutes in the first half. He was on the bench for a long time before resurfacing over the final couple minutes of that first half. Lob down low for Anabadarte, but it grazes off the side of the backboard. Aitor has to chase it down. Bounced into Carter Fahey, off his hands and intercepted. Isaac Standback takes it the other direction. Standback gives it up. Jared Johnson mishandles it, but gets it back. Johnson, a 20-point per game scorer, has just 1 field goal attempt today, and he turns it over here. Weird game for Jared Johnson. He has 2 points. He does have 6 rebounds and 3 assists, so he hasn't played poorly, but that was his 3rd turnover of the game. So this is a guy who takes about 15 shots per contest on average and has just 1 so far today. Darius Wright, pull-up jumper, no good. Rebound, Jimmy Washington. Malik Miller, jump stop in the paint, blocked by Anabadarte. Rebound tipped out to Nikki Flesher. Shot clock does not reset for Indiana Northwest. Flesher works inside and gets fouled.
St. Francis foul number 32, Carter Fahey, his second.
Second foul on Carter Fahey, first foul of the half. Flesher to the line. Poor free throw shooting in the first half. The two teams combined to go just 7 of 16 from the line. Nikki Flesher, though, has not missed all year. Nearly missed that one, but got a friendly roll from the visiting rims here. He's 9 for 9 from the line this season. Flesher, a freshman who's making just his 2nd start of the season. Actually, sorry, his first career start for Indiana Northwest. He's played in all but 2 games. But prior to today, that was off the bench. Fahey off to Darius Wright. Reno bounces backwards and passes in the post to Fahey. Nice pass. Darius Wright lays it in. Beautiful feed from Carter Fahey. Darius Wright's got 14 points. Flesher drives. Flesher inside. He misses on the layup. And an over-the-back foul is called on Jimmy Washington. Number 2 on him.
Indiana Northwest foul number 34, Jimmy Washington. His second, team second.
Fahey, high post, backs it outside the three-point line, passes off to his right. This is Nadav Gerner. Anabadarte working against Washington down low. Anabadarte underneath the basket, turns around, misses the layup. Rebound Isaac Standback. 5-point game. They're trying to make it a one-score difference here, and they do just that as Nikki Flesher lays it in. 4 points for Nikki Flesher, all of them since halftime. We're only 3 minutes into the second half. St. Francis had a 4-point lead at the break. It's down to 3 right now. Fahey drives on the baseline. Carter Fahey working hard against Isaac Standback. Turnaround jumper, got it, and a foul. Fahey's been very impressive showing off his post moves today. He's also got 4 assists in the game. So he's done a little bit of everything. Isaac Standback called for his second foul. And Carter Fahey, to make it a 3-point play, gets 1 foul shot. It is a 3-point play. 15 points for Fahey. Johnson kicks into the corner. Washington jumper is good. That's a 2-pointer. Jimmy Washington is on the scoreboard for the second time today. Reno looking inside. Everything covered up by the Redhawks. So he passes back to the half-court line. And Darius Wright. Wright has an open look from three-point range. Knocks it down. Darius Wright has 16. 5th assist for Carter Fahey. Corner 3, Jared Johnson. And it hits up off the shot clock after bouncing on the rim. That's going the other way. Johnson just has not been able to get going today. Just his second field goal attempt and his first miss. Ben Kritz is back in for St. Francis. Reno up top to Darius Wright. Bounce to Ben Kritz. Kritz at the free throw line. Bounces down low to Fahey. Fahey working in the post again. Another turnaround jumper. Carter Fahey, he has been red hot since the opening tip. 17 for Fahey. Miller on the drive the other way. Nice little roll from Malik Miller. A good basket for him, a big basket for him. As the St. Francis lead had ballooned to 9, which matched the largest of the game. They'll try to get it back there, or maybe even to 10 on this possession. Fahey backing in. Carter Fahey turnaround again, this time too hard off the glass, but he tips it in. Even when he misses, Carter Fahey's putting up numbers today. Johnson hands it to Standback. Great first half for Isaac Standback. Very quiet so far in the second. Lobbed in the post for Standback, and he lays it in. Timeout called by Indiana Northwest. 14:51 to play in the second half. 52-45, St. Francis has the lead. Fighting Saints playing well today as they go for their second consecutive victory. They came into play 2-2 on the season. They're trying to move above 500 for the first time since their first game of the year. A couple of tough losses, both of them here at home. They fell in a conference game against Roosevelt back on November 22nd, and then last Saturday night, a hard-fought back-and-forth affair with Lords in night 1 of the USF Thanksgiving Classic. They ultimately fell in that one before bouncing back and blowing out Eureka in Game 2 of the Thanksgiving Classic on Sunday. Well, I said it was a two-man game at halftime. It really has continued that way. Fahey and Wright have combined on 35 of the team's 52 points, but you could also very easily throw Aitor Anabadarte in there. He's got 9 points. So the three of them have combined for 44 of 52. Anabadarte's also got 8 rebounds. Fahey has 5 rebounds and 5 assists. It's not just that those guys have been doing all the scoring. They've all been shooting the ball extremely well. Those three guys I mentioned, 18 for 27, a 67% shooting rate so far. The rest of the team is 2 for 18, 11%. Saints basketball out of the timeout. It's Jake Carley to Ben Kritz at the high post. He backs it up. 10 on the shot clock for St. Francis. Carley spins into the paint, kicks it outside. Darius Wright along the baseline. Nice bounce pass to Ben Kritz, who finishes at the rim. Beautifully set up by Darius Wright. Ben Kritz has his second bucket of the game. Tough move inside. Isaac stand back, doesn't get the roll. There's Von Lillard with the follow. Von Lillard's getting his first action of the second half. He was great off the bench in the first half. 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting. He's now got 14 on 6 of 7 from the field. Darius Wright, three-pointer, short. Offensive rebound Fahey, but he won't get credit for it because he pushed off in order to get it. So a foul called on St. Francis. Number 3 on Fahey.
St. Francis foul number 32, Carter Fahey, his third, team second.
Nobody down there to inbound for the Redhawks. Saints make a substitution. Fahey with the 3 fouls heads to the bench. And so Kazmir Ochiaka is back in there. Good to see him on the floor. He left in the first half with an injury after 4 minutes. Malik Miller bounces up top to Von Lillard. To his left, finds Javion Reed. Flesher down low, Lillard up with the right hand and in. Von Lillard stays hot. What a day for him so far. 16 points for Lillard. He came in averaging 13 per game. We've still got 13 minutes to play. This could be a huge game for him. Fired across court by Phillips to Ben Kritz. Nice little pump fake. He steps in and misses the 2-point jumper. Miller pushes it ahead to Reed. Reed is stripped by Darius Wright out of bounds off of St. Francis. Lewis McGlasson is in for Darius Wright. Both teams have used their bench liberally today. 11 different players have been on the floor for St. Francis. 13 have appeared in today's game for Indiana Northwest. Miller across to Flesher. High pass, but Flesher goes up high to pull it in. Stolen by Ochiaka. So Ochiaka against Standback on the other end, and Standback comes away with the strip. Ochiaka wanted a foul called, but the referee said it was a clean block. Turned over on the other side as Von Lillard is called for taking the step. Traveling is the ruling. 5-point lead for St. Francis. Somehow it always seems to be a 5-point lead or thereabouts. Saints' biggest lead is 9. Biggest lead for Indiana Northwest is 5. That was at 24-19. Saints led by 9 here in the second half. Ochiaka in traffic, turns around, tries to bank it in. A little bit too soft. Lillard, one bounce, lays it up, in, and gets to the line. Von Lillard continues his huge day. 2 of 2 at the free throw line. And looking for his 19th point now. First foul on Ochiaka. And the free throw is good from Lillard. He's not missing anything today. 7 of 8 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line. It's a 3-point game. Credit to Indiana Northwest as well. But they have kept this thing within 1 or 2 possessions most of the way without hitting a three-pointer all night. This is a 2-point game now after the free throw, 54-52. Aitor Anabadarte is back in, so a couple of bigs on the floor once again for the Fighting Saints with Ochiaka and Anabadarte. Lewis McGlasson outside. McGlasson's a big guy too, but typically an outside shooter. Doesn't get too close to the basket. Anabadarte working in the post, backing down on Lillard, who comes away with the block. Standback looking for the tie score, and he's got it. Isaac Standback scores for the first time in this half and evens the count 54-54 with 11 and a half minutes to go. 4-point lead for St. Francis at halftime. They've led by 9 this half, but a 13-4 run from Indiana Northwest has tied it up. Ochiaka one bounce, and he's fouled on the floor.
Indiana Northwest foul on 25, Isaac Standback, his third, team's fourth.
Third foul on Isaac Standback. So now each team has a player with 3. Phillips inbounds to Carly. Carly backs it up. Anabadarte up top to Ochiaka. Ochiaka hands to Carly, who fires the three-pointer and drains it. So Jake Carly puts the Saints back in front. They haven't trailed since early in this one. 24-22 was their last deficit. Stripped by Carly, picked up by Ochiaka. Saints push it ahead. Carly, another 3. Can't make it 2 in a row. Comes up a little bit short. It was a big 3 a moment ago, though. Now the Saints look for another stop after Indiana Northwest had come back to tie the score with a 13-4 run. Big runs have been commonplace in this game. We've seen them from both teams. Stripped by Ochiaka. Lillard wanted a foul. The call is not forthcoming. Anabadarte handles the ball across half court, picked up by Lillard, looking for some help. Bounces it off to Ochiaka. Firing inside, this is Justin Phillips. Phillips breaks free and scores over Trey Steinhilber. Made one nice step to get around Steinhilber and was able to lay it in. Phillips has his first bucket today. Off the hands of Reed and out of bounds. Javion Reed not able to pull that pass in. The lead is back to 5 for St. Francis. Deja vu. More than halfway through this second half. Phillips bounces to Anabadarte. Anabadarte is the only starter who's been out there for a while now, and the Saints are playing well with this lineup, although Carly's not able to convert right there, and Ochiaka is called for the loose ball foul. That'll be number 2 on him. Giving the Saints a few extra minutes here this half with Carter Fahey in foul trouble, but Fahey's got just 3, so I would imagine we'll see him back on the floor pretty soon, considering how well he's played today. He's been outstanding. Ochiaka takes it away from Lillard, and Lillard carries it out of bounds. Here's Steinhilber. Left side, Jared Johnson. He's been the invisible man in today's game. Redhawks need more from him if they're going to win. Lillard is fouled from behind by Ochiaka. That's number 3 on him. Ochiaka's been a little handsy with Von Lillard. Lillard's been a little exaggerated in some of his mannerisms as Ochiaka's taken the ball away on a couple of possessions. He's been very frustrated that he hasn't been getting more fouls called, but that time he does get the call. Steinhilber to inbound. Lobbed into Johnson. Steinhilber outside. Javion Reed, three-pointer is good. Big three for Javion Reed. His first points today. His first points of the half, I should say. 5 for the game. And once again, just 2 points separate these teams. Finally, a three-pointer for Indiana Northwest. They have been difficult to come by. Anabadarte off to McGlasson. Three-pointer. High arcer is good for Lewis McGlasson. His first points of the game, and here we are. Timeout called, and what do you know? It's a 5-point game. 8.5 minutes to play. Saints 62. Redhawks 57. Should be a fun final 8.5 here between two teams that have been fairly even throughout this one, despite the fact that the Saints have led most of the way through. St. Francis has held the lead for more than 80% of the action thus far, but they have not been able to create much separation between them and Indiana Northwest. And right now, the Redhawks have gone on a run because of their offensive firepower. 7 of their last 8 from the field. They're led now by Von Lillard, who has surpassed Isaac Stanback's total. 19 points for Lillard on 8 of 9 shooting. Stanback's got 16, so those two have still combined on well over 60% of their team's points. Nobody else has more than 5. Big turning point for Indiana Northwest on the last possession. Javion Reed hit a 3. They had been 0 of 8 from beyond the three-point line, so that's a big one for them. We'll see if it vaults them forward in any way, or if they go right back to their struggles. Outside shooting has not particularly been a strong suit for Indiana Northwest this season. Shooting in general has been tough. It's a team that's been very close. They're 2-6, but a few bad bounces cost them a few wins. They could very easily be 4-4, 5-3 through their first 8 games. But none of their numbers so far this year have been quite what they were last year. They're not shooting as well as they'd like. They're not rebounding. They're not turning the ball over is the one real positive for this team this year. As the three-pointer misses from Johnson, but the rebound finds its way into the hands of Von Lillard, who lays in another. Lillard is 9 of 10 shooting today, and he is single-handedly at this point keeping Indiana Northwest in the game. Darius Wright's pass is intercepted. Lillard doing it on the defensive end now. Steinhilber gives it up top to Lillard. Johnson finds Javion Reed. Reed picks up his dribble, gives it back up top with the shot clock under 10 seconds. Lob down low, Lillard, who's fouled by Nadav Gurner. For as good as Lillard has been from the field, you don't want to send him to the line either. He hasn't missed from there yet today. 70% foul shooter for the season. He's 3 of 3 today. He can make this a 2 or a 1-point game. And he misses the first. Reno is back in for the Fighting Saints. Ben Kritz off the bench. Anabadarte and McGlasson sit down. So the Saints get a little bit smaller with this configuration. Lillard connects on his second free throw. 62-60, 7.5 minutes to play. Outside, Darius Wright steps inside the three-point line looking for the pass, but Kritz didn't cut. Gives it up top instead. 10 seconds to shoot. Over to Darius Wright. Wright works his way inside. Awkward angle, a layup misses. We're going the other way. Bounce to Washington, and Davion Washington gets the bucket to tie the score at 62. Sixth time we've been tied today. Indiana Northwest has not led since 24-22. Wright, step back three, skims the rim, misses, rebound Davion Washington. So Indiana Northwest can take the lead for the first time this half on this possession. 6.5 minutes to play. Three-pointer, Davion Washington got a good look at it but didn't connect. They are now 1 of 11 from beyond the arc. Wright bounces into the post, Carter Fahey. See if they can get him going again. Davion Washington is called for the foul coming across the body with the strip. Just the 5th on Indiana Northwest. So the Saints will inbound from the baseline. Fahey was so solid earlier, spent some time on the bench after picking up his 3rd foul. And the Fighting Saints would love to get him involved any way possible again. Reno, three-pointer, good from the corner. Jalen Reno makes it a 3-point game. Indiana Northwest fought their way back with 5 straight points to tie it. But one critical 3, and the Saints are right back in front. Johnson, couple of dribbles, kicks it back outside. A drive from Reed, up with the right hand, no. Lillard follows, a rare miss from Von Lillard, and Ben Kritz comes down with the rebound. Here's Fahey. Carter Fahey lobs it in for Darius Wright, who comes up short on the reverse layup. Taking it the other way, Javion Reed bounces into the post. Von Lillard backs in, Lillard up with the right, rolls around, does not go. Rebound Steinhilber, another chance for the Redhawks. Three-pointer from the corner. Davion Washington misses the potential game-tying three-pointer. And the Saints get the ball back. Approaching the 5-minute mark, so it's starting to get late here. This one's still a toss-up. St. Francis has led just about the entire way. We've seen that before. In their loss to Roosevelt about a week and a half ago. They led the entire game until the final minute and ended up falling by 2. So they'd like to distance their lead here, not content just to have it. Inside, Reno gets the shot off. Darius Wright tips. Did it count? Looks like they're giving it to him. With the shot clock running down, Reno just threw up a wild prayer. It didn't get the rim, and Wright apparently tipped it in before the shot clock ran out. Jared Johnson is fouled, but the foul is on the floor. It is number 6, I believe, on St. Francis. So it will not result in free throws. It's a 4th foul on Carter Fahey. And it is actually the 7th on the Saints. So Johnson was upset that it wasn't a shooting foul, but it doesn't make a difference. He's going to get shots here anyway. It does make the difference in the sense that it'll be 1 and 1 instead of 2, but as a shooter, I think generally you don't care about that because your plan is to make the first regardless. Johnson does make the first shot. Just 3 points for him today. Came in averaging 20 per game. He's got 4 now. 67-64, back to a 3-point game. 4.5 minutes to go. All 5 starters are on the floor for the Fighting Saints. Passed outside, Nadav Gurner finds Carter Fahey. Back to Darius Wright. Saints running some clock here. The shot clock is down to 6. Wright drives, Wright off the glass. It rims in. Such a great game today for Darius Wright. He had gone cold. First bucket for him in a while. 18 points for the senior. Isaac Standback, speaking of guys who got off to great starts and have gone cold, misses the close range shot. And we're going the other way with it. Nadav Gurner works his way into the paint and lays it in. Saints lead is back to 7. Their biggest lead has been 9. By and large, it's been a lot closer than that as Malik Miller responds with a layup of his own. Timeout called, 3:40 to play, 71-66 the score. Like I said, the Saints have led by as many as 9. That happened twice, once late in the first half and then again early in the second half. But for the most part, this has been anywhere from a 3 to a 7-point game. Saints have led most of the way, but Indiana Northwest came back to tie the score. They did so twice here in the second half. Most recently, 64-64, or 62-62 rather. Saints responded with a 9-2 run. And they have responded like that all game. They haven't exactly dominated the whole way, but it feels like every time Indiana Northwest has a run in them, the Saints respond in kind. Saints have held the lead for about 30 minutes out of the 36 that have been played in this game. We've had 6 ties. As I said before, 2 of them here in the second half. Last big bucket for St. Francis belongs to Nadav Gerner. His first 2 points of the game. And the Saints here in the second half have done a good job of getting everybody involved. It was the Wright and Fahey show in the first half. But now we've seen 10 different St. Francis players score at least 1 in the game. Getting late here at the Sullivan Center. I can tell because the sun is starting to set outside. And also because there are only 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Saints trying to put this one away. Aitor Anabadarte guarded at the free throw line by Standback. He hands it off to Nadav Gerner. 15 seconds to shoot. Right to Fahey. And we've got a moving screen called against Darius Wright. Foul on Wright is his 3rd. The 8th on the team. It's an offensive foul, so no free throws here for Indiana Northwest. But they get the ball back with a chance to make it a 1-score game. Lillard has come up big all day today. Johnson gives it right back to him. Free throw line. Von Lillard, guarded by Carter Fahey, gives it up to Jared Johnson. Johnson fires down low, and it's picked out of the air by Carter Fahey. He was trying to get it back to Lillard. Fahey had other ideas. So a turnover for each team on back-to-back possessions. And that certainly favors the Saints. A minute has run off the clock since then, though Wright misses on the three-pointer. Still way too early for the Fighting Saints to be looking at the clock with just a 5-point lead. Flesher hands it off to Miller. Down low, Isaac Standback. Standback, turnaround is good from a couple of feet out. Big bucket for Standback, makes it just a 3-point game. This is a big offensive possession for St. Francis. They've come up empty on 2 in a row. Trying to create a little separation. Aitor Anabadarte adjusts in the air, misses, second chance. He's fouled. Tough shot from Aitor Anabadarte the first time, but he grabbed his own rebound. And now heading to the line for 2 shots. Aitor has not missed from the line today. He's got 9 points, 3 of 3 on free throws. First shot is good. Aitor Anabadarte is not a guy who's put up gaudy numbers this year, but very quietly, he's just about averaging a double-double. Top rebounder this season. Second on the team in scoring. He's in double figures once again tonight, 11 points now. And the lead is once again 5. Miller, double team. Has to get rid of it, finds Standback. Standback, works his way into the paint. Sends it high into the corner. Flesher back over to Johnson. Jared Johnson drives off the glass, banks it in. Three-point lead for St. Francis, 90 seconds to play. Here's Jalen Reno looking inside for Aitor Anabadarte. He's got him. Anabadarte backs in, creates space, misses. Standback grabs the rebound. Three-pointer ties it here. Redhawks have hit only one of those all game. Miller off balance, shot is good. And it's a 1-point game, 73-72. Timeout called by St. Francis. Ryan Marks will draw up a play here with 62 seconds to go. Saints have cooled off offensively. Their last 4 possessions, they've had 3 missed shots and a turnover. During that run, they did get Aitor Anabadarte to the free throw line as well. So they were able to add a couple to their lead, but they led this one 71-66. And since then have not been able to put a field goal in. while Indiana Northwest has chipped away and made it a one-point game. Again, they've tied it up a couple of times this half, but they have not come all the way back to move ahead of St. Francis. Saints have led since just past the midway point of the first half. Darius Wright, the leading scorer in the game for the Saints with 20 points. Carter Fahey is right behind him with 19. Aitor Anabatarte has 11 points and 9 rebounds. If this were still a 5-point game, then you could say that it would be a successful possession for St. Francis just to run the clock. They didn't necessarily even need to score because they could take up half the time remaining. But now that it's only a 1-point contest, they need to figure out a way on this possession to put the ball in the basket to have any feeling of confidence going forward. Jalen Reno shaded down the floor by Malik Miller. Reno passes to Nadav Gerner on the left side. Handoff back to Reno. Around a screen from Fahey. Reno penetrates, loses the ball, poked free along the sideline. Aitor Anabatarte pulls it in. Saints still alive with 7 to shoot. Darius Wright, three-pointer. A little bit too strong. Offensive rebound. Aitor Anabatarte back up and a foul. Anabatarte has been huge on the offensive glass today. That's his 10th rebound of the game. And now trying to salt it away from the free throw line. 36 seconds to play. And if he hits them both, Indiana Northwest will not be able to take the lead on their next possession, barring something weird. Full timeout called by Indiana Northwest. Just talking through potential scenarios here. Again, if Anabatarte, and it's a big if, even though he's been very good from the line both today and throughout the season so far. If he does make both free throws and turn this into a 3-point game, it would be huge because the Redhawks, first of all, have not been able to hit any threes tonight. They've got just one of them all game, shooting under 10% from beyond the arc. But it would be very difficult for the Redhawks to win the game cleanly in regulation if the Saints could take a 3-point lead here. Because the best case scenario for the Redhawks would be they hit a game-tying 3 on their next possession, and then the Saints would get the ball back with a tie score, no shot clock, and the opportunity to take the final shot of the game to try to win it. If it's a 3-point lead and Indiana Northwest hits a 2-pointer on the next possession, again, the shot clock would be off, so they'd be forced to start fouling. And then as long as the Saints could hit their free throws down the stretch, they'd be on easy street. All of that is if Anabatarte makes both of these. If he misses one or both, then anything's still on the table. It's all up for grabs. So 2 big shots here, probably safe to say, for the junior center from Spain. First shot, no good. So everything's up for grabs, including potentially this rebound if Anabatarte misses on the second shot. He makes the second. 12 points for him, 2-point game. So a 2 would tie, a 3 would give them their first lead of the second half. Miller kicks it out to Johnson. Jared Johnson bounces to Isaac Standback. Johnson in the paint, floats it in, and we're tied at 74. 23 seconds to go. Shot clock is off. So barring a turnover, the Saints will either win it in regulation or send this game into overtime. 13 seconds on the clock. Reno lets it run down under 10. Now he starts to make his move on Miller. Jalen Reno bounces inside. Carter Fahey with 3 seconds. Turnaround. Comes up a little bit short. Rebound, Indiana Northwest, and we're headed for overtime. This is the 9th game of the year for Indiana Northwest, and it is the 3rd time that they've had to play extra time. 5 minutes on the clock for the overtime period. I'm going to take a 30-second break. I'll be right back to get you prepared for the overtime. 74-74. We're tied as we get set to begin the overtime period. I mentioned before, it's the third time this year that Indiana Northwest has gone to overtime. They don't usually settle for just one. They lost a 2 overtime game and then won a 3 overtime game previous 2 times here. For St. Francis, this is the second game that has come down to the final seconds of regulation, but the first time that they've been sent to the extra period. Tip is won by Aitor Anabadartse, and St. Francis gets first possession of the overtime. Saints got a pretty good look to end regulation. Carter Fahey dribbles inside and lays it in. It was a tough shot for Fahey on that last possession. Turnaround jumper, but he's made that repeatedly throughout the game, so I think Ryan Marks would take it. Saints did not call a timeout at the end of regulation. We saw that against Roosevelt as well. Ryan Marks likes to let him play down the stretch. Lillard lays it in. Von Lillard has 24 points for Indiana Northwest. Back and forth we go. 8th time we've been tied today. St. Francis has not trailed since early. Indiana Northwest did a great job of fighting back after they trailed the entire second half. Aitor Anabadartse for 3 on the money. Aitor Anabadarte's got 15 points now for the Fighting Saints. I don't think the Redhawks were expecting him to do it from out there. Now he commits a foul. I'll send Jared Johnson to the line.
St. Francis foul, number 21, Aitor Anabadartse, his first, team's 9th.
2 shots for Johnson. First one is good. 3-pointer for Anabadartse. It was just his 3rd of the season. Put his team up by 3. It's back down to 2 after the Johnson free throw. Johnson's got 10 points now. It's been a very quiet day for him. Slow going. He had just 1 field goal attempt in the first half. He's at 5 right now. I mentioned earlier he averages 15 per game and averages 20 points. So it's a surprise to see him just reach double figures for the first time here in the extra period. Still a 1-point lead for the Saints. Fahey works down low. Carter Fahey runs into a wall, kicks it back outside. This time they close in on Anabadartse. Now they've seen his range. Nadav Gerner loses control, and it's scooped up by Malik Miller. Indiana Northwest playing for the lead now. Johnson, open 3, good. His first 3-pointer of the game. The team had been just 1 of 12 from beyond the arc before that. It's a 5-0 individual run for Jared Johnson, and for the first time since very early, it's a lead for Indiana Northwest. And it'll last at least 1 possession more as Darius Wright misses his 3-point attempt. Saints went ice cold over the last 3 minutes of this game in regulation. Now trying to play defense in the overtime period. They force the miss and come away with the rebound. They haven't been as cold so far in overtime. Hit a couple of shots already. Knocked out of bounds away from Fahey. And Isaac Standback touched it last. Half the overtime period is gone already. High scoring overtime so far. Indiana Northwest has outscored St. Francis 7-5. Fahey around the baseline, lays it in on the reverse. We're tied at 81. 8th tie score of the game, 81-81. And it comes thanks to the reverse layup from Carter Fahey, who has a season-high 23 points in the contest today. He's also got 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Gaudy stat lines for a couple of Saints. Darius Wright is right there with Fahey with over 20 points. And Aitor Anabadartse has himself a double-double with 14 and 10. (81-81) is our score, exactly halfway now through the first overtime period. St. Francis was consistent tonight, 37 points in the first half, 37 points in the second half, but Indiana Northwest picked up their offensive game in the second half, shooting 61% from the field. They're over 50% from the game now, and they've been shooting terribly from the outside, but most of their shots have come in the paint. Standback gives it up to Johnson. There's another one in the paint. Layup puts the Redhawks in front. 58 points in the paint today for Indiana Northwest. Foul called on Malik Miller, trying to knock the ball away from Nadav Gerner. He succeeded in knocking the ball away, but he did so by committing a foul. So Gerner will go to the line for a 1-and-1. Free throws have been a consistent pain for the Saints today. 9 of 17 from the line. That number essentially cost them winning the game in regulation. Nadav Gerner makes the first. This for the tie here. Can't get it. Rebound to Nikki Flesher. And Indiana Northwest has the ball with the lead for the first time in a long time. They led by 5 points in the first half, 24-19. Saints answered with a big run, and it took until now to get that lead back, but they can't expand it as Aitor Anabadarte reaches out, uses the long arms to create a steal. Fahey tries to lob it in for Darius Wright. It was tipped out of bounds. Still Saints basketball, 16 on the shot clock. Gerner inbounds to Carly. Up top, Darius Wright. Fahey whips it down low to Anabadarte, who's fouled by Malik Miller. So Aitor Anabadarte heads to the line. Anabadarte, 6 of 7 on free throws so far in the game. That one miss was a critical one. It allowed Indiana Northwest to tie the game on the next possession and send it into overtime. But he has been the one Fighting Saint who's been consistent from the line. First shot is good. He's 7 of 8 from the line. The rest of the team is 4 for 12. Tie game, trying to give his team the lead. He doesn't. 83-83. 83 seconds remaining. Here's Jared Johnson across to Malik Miller. Johnson to the corner this time. Flesher steps in, 2-point jumper. No good. Rebound Gerner. Saints hit the first field goal of overtime. But they've been playing catch-up for the last several minutes. They have a chance here to claim the lead once more. Carly up to Fahey. Shot clock at 13 for Wright, who bounces down low to Aitor Anabadarte. Anabadarte works inside on Isaac Standback. There's Lillard with the help. Fights it up, and it's blocked. Final minute of play. Indiana Northwest can reclaim the lead. Standback drives, layup, no. Rebound Gerner, and the shot clock is off for the second time today. The Saints have the ball with a chance to win it, and this time Ryan Marks decides to call the timeout. Identical situation at the end of regulation. They elected not to call the timeout. They played it out. Got a decent look from Carter Fahey, who was not able to convert, and it sent the game to overtime. Now here we are at the end of the first overtime period, and they will draw up a play along the sideline. It's been an interesting game. Saints have led almost the entire way, but never felt like they were in control. They never pulled away. Their largest lead was 9, which they achieved twice. Both times it was a short-lived 9-point lead. Indiana Northwest made a little run to cut into it. The entire second half of the game felt like the Saints always had a 3 to 6 point lead. Never got much bigger, never got much lower. Indiana Northwest came back to tie the score at 62-62, but the Saints went on another run, a 9-2 run to take a 7-point lead. But then Indiana Northwest closed out regulation by scoring 10 of the last 13 in forcing overtime. And the overtime period has been a back and forth affair. We will likely either see a St. Francis victory or a double overtime. Indiana Northwest cannot get the ball back unless they take it away, or if the Saints take a quick shot. Not terribly likely here. 15 seconds to play. Jalen Reno. Saints are in the double bonus if they get fouled. 10 seconds now. At 9, he makes his move to his right. Reno spins back to his right, picks up his dribble, tries to get it into Anabadarte. It's deflected. Anabadarte pulls it in, throws up a wild 3 at the buzzer off the front iron, and we're going to a second overtime. I said it before, Indiana Northwest doesn't like to play just one of these things. This is their third time this year that they have played at least double overtime. And as you get into another extra 5 minutes, you always look at the foul situation as well. It's hard to stay out there for an entire game plus 2 overtimes without seeing a few people get in foul trouble. It's a much more precarious situation for St. Francis than it is for Indiana Northwest. Carter Fahey has been playing with 4 fouls. So 1 more and he's out. Darius Wright has 3 fouls. And Kazmir Ochiaka has 3 as well, but we haven't seen him since early in the second half. Indiana Northwest has just 1 player with more than 2. That's Isaac Standback, who picked up his 3rd relatively early in the second half and hasn't been heard from in that category since. Standback hasn't been heard as much in other categories either. He got off to such a hot start. But in the second half, it was Von Lillard who took over. Lillard's got 24 points to lead all scorers in this game. In overtime, though, it was back to the usual suspect, Jared Johnson. Johnson took over the game for Indiana Northwest offensively in the overtime, scoring the lion's share of their points. But not quite enough to finish it off. If St. Francis loses this game, they will be kicking themselves for all of their missed opportunities from the free throw line. There have been a lot of them. St. Francis in this game is just 11 of 21 from the free throw line, and that's been a killer. Indiana Northwest has the same point total from the foul line, 11, but on 7 fewer attempts. Tip is won by Indiana Northwest, lobbed in for Von Lillard, who lays it in. And the Redhawks strike first here in the second overtime. Von Lillard has 26 points, 11 of 14 from the field. He's also got 9 rebounds tonight. Great game for Lillard. Darius Wright takes it up top. Wright is stripped. Picked up by Indiana Northwest. Davion Washington takes it the other way. Sent inside to Miller, and Malik Miller lays it in. 11 for Malik Miller for the first time since in the first half of this game. Indiana Northwest has a 2-possession lead. Reno bounces for Anabadarte, deflected, but he pulls it back in. Aitor Anabadarte, tough inside with Lillard, and Lillard got him on the arm. Third foul on Von Lillard. And Aitor Anabadarte is right back to the free throw line. Again, a good game from Anabadarte at the line, 7 of 9 shooting, but both of those misses were in game-clinching situations. Not able to seal the deal. This time, he is able to pull the team back within 1 score by making the first. 18 points for Aitor Anabadarte. It's an 87-85 score. I'm not saying that I'm going to predict a third overtime, but I will say it's hard to imagine either one of these teams running away with the game in the final 4 minutes. It's just been played so close the whole way through. Miller drives. Miller bounces to Lillard. Lillard loses the ball. wanted a foul called on Carter Fahey. The official says Fahey got all ball. And that's huge for two reasons. Not only the turnover, but it would have been Fahey's 5th foul. And of course, no free throws for Indiana Northwest too. Fahey steps back behind the three-point line. 12 on the shot clock. Backing in on Davion Washington. Spins towards the baseline. Off the side of the backboard, no good. And it rebounded by Malik Miller. Fahey's been the best offensive player on the floor for the Saints today. Not a great possession that time. Corner three, Reed off the mark. Rebound tipped. Fahey grabs it. And he's fouled by Davion Washington. Saints are in the double bonus, so Carter Fahey will get a chance to tie the score from the free throw line.
Indiana Northwest foul number 35, Davion Washington, his
Third foul on Washington. Carter Fahey is a 75% foul shooter this year. Surprisingly, for how active as he's been today, this is only his 2nd attempt of the game, and it's good. This would give us our 11th tie of the afternoon if he's able to make it. He's not. So the free throw bug biting everybody on the Saints today. Shooting just over 50% from the line as a team. 1 point game. Malik Miller looking to extend it. Crosses over on Nadav Gurner, loses the ball. Gets it right back. Up to Javion Reed. 5 on the shot clock. Bounced into Lillard and taken away by Jalen Reno. Reno has it stripped by Jared Johnson and scooped up by Davion Washington. Turnovers both ways, and the ball is right back where it started. In the hands of the Redhawks with a 1 point lead. Half of the second overtime period is behind us. Miller into the corner. This is Washington. Outside, Jared Johnson, three-pointer, no. Right on line, but a little bit too strong. For the second time, the Saints have the ball with, actually the third time now, they've had the ball with a chance to move ahead of Indiana Northwest. Reno down in the corner. The shot clock under 10, passed up top to Nadav Gurner. Gurner drives to the right, picks up his dribble at the free throw line and throws it away. Intercepted by Johnson. Ahead for Javion Reed. Reed against Gurner. Rolls it in. Timeout called, a minute 47 to play. Double overtime, 89-86. Indiana Northwest. And the Saints now know what it has felt like all game to be the Redhawks, because this is the exact position that Indiana Northwest has been in all day. Trailing, trying to play catch-up, hanging around, and we'll see if they can do what Indiana Northwest did and complete that comeback. The Redhawks tied it in regulation, sent it to overtime, and then finally took the lead back in overtime one very briefly. Lead changed hands a couple of times during that first OT, but it was tied at the end of it. And now here in the second overtime, Indiana Northwest has at least so far taken control, leading 89-86. It'll be St. Francis basketball coming out of this timeout. They had some go-to guys early in the game. Darius Wright has cooled off after an excellent start. Wright was 5 of 6 shooting in the first half. Since then, he's gone just 4 of 12. Carter Fahey has been neutralized essentially by the Indiana Northwest defense. They just haven't given him any good looks in a while. And Aitor Anabadarte has kind of become the go-to man inside for St. Francis, but he likewise has not been catching the ball in great shooting position. The defense has made things very difficult for him. We'll see what they've got planned here with a minute 46 to play coming out of the timeout. A lot of time left. They certainly don't need a 3 right now, although it wouldn't hurt. Aitor Anabadarte spins towards the basket, stripped out of bounds, off of the Fighting Saints. It was stripped by Standback and hit the leg of Anabadarte, before leaving the court. Big possession for the defense right now. The Saints need a stop. Clock will run down close to a minute by the time this possession is over. And the Redhawks can make it a 2-score game. They're working the ball casually around the perimeter. Now a drive from Miller. Comes up short on the layup. Follow misses from Lillard, or Johnson rather. And a loose ball foul is called on Indiana Northwest.
Indiana Northwest foul number 4, Javion Reed, his first.
Aitor Anabadarte is right back to the free throw line. He's made a second home there today. Anabadarte cannot tie the score or take the lead this time, but he can tighten it up considerably as he makes the first shot. Second one is good. It was tied at 74 at the end of regulation. Both teams scored 9 points in the first overtime. Redhawks outscoring the Saints 6-5 here in the second. Aitor Anabadarte becomes the third St. Francis player with 20 points today. Under a minute to go. Lob down to the corner for Javion Reed. And Reed is fouled by Aitor Anabadarte. So Javion Reed goes to the free throw stripe. 78% foul shooter, Javion Reed. Cannot make it a 2-score game, but he can force the Saints into a 3-point shooting scenario. Still too early to feel like you need a 3, especially because it most likely won't be a 3-point game when they get the ball back. Reed misses on the first free throw. Free throw shooting has been the Achilles heel for the Saints all game, and now it is haunting the Redhawks a little bit as well. 1 of 2 for Javion Reed, a big second shot at least made by Reed, and now the Saints can tie it with a 2 or take their first lead of double overtime with a 3. It's a 2 for Aitor Anabadarte to tie the score at 90. Well, originally put in the air from behind the 3-point line, Darius Wright lobs the alley-oop to Aitor Anabadarte. 22 points now for Aitor, and we're tied 90-90. Timeout called by Indiana Northwest. 37 seconds to play. 24 on the shot clock, so Indiana Northwest, unless they miss and get an offensive rebound, will have to give the ball back to the Saints at some point here. St. Francis had the ball with the clock running down in both regulation and the first overtime period. So twice they had the opportunity to hit the game-winning shot. Both times they missed it. Got a good look at the end of regulation, didn't go. Nearly turned it over at the end of overtime and ended up getting it back, but Aitor Anabadarte was forced to throw up a desperation shot at the buzzer. And again here in double overtime, again, just about guaranteed to get the ball back, but the first question is, what does Indiana Northwest do with the ball? They have not trailed in the second overtime after not having led in the second half of the game. Lead went back and forth in the first overtime, and now here in the second, it's been the Redhawks' game. But the Saints have come back to tie it, 90-all. Jared Johnson's been their go-to guy during overtime today. Johnson was held quiet in regulation. 8 points, only 5 field goal attempts for a guy averaging 20 points per game. But in overtime, he's come to life. Johnson had 7 in the first overtime period alone. It's Standback with the ball in his hands. Standback hands it off to Davion Reed. Right back to Isaac Standback. Shot clock at 9. Standback at the free throw line. Drives. Leaner blocked by Anabadarte. Standback tracks it down. 3 to shoot. Jump stop. Shot is good. 14 seconds on the clock. Saints basketball timeout. So once again, St. Francis gets the ball back with the clock running down with no shot clock and the opportunity to take the final shot. But this time, it won't necessarily be to win. This is not coming out of a tie score, but a 2-point deficit. Of course, they could attempt the three, try to win this thing right here. They've shot three-pointers pretty well tonight, 37% for the game. But they haven't been hitting three-pointers for a little while. Lewis McGlasson, their prime three-point shooting target off the bench, has not played during overtime. Neither has Jake Carley, who hit a pair of them early. So if you're going to go that route, it would likely be Darius Wright, maybe Carter Fahey. But I would guess the Saints will try to work it inside to Anabadarte. He's been their hot hand. Aitor Anabadarte has 22 points now for the game, of which 10 have come since the end of regulation. "14 seconds to play. And it's all on the table. We could be looking at a third overtime. We could be looking at a Red Hawks stop and a big win for them. Or we could be looking at a St. Francis three-pointer and sending the home fans away happy. Anabadarte gives it to the point guard Jalen Reno, who sets things up. Across half court, passed over to Anabadarte at the wing. Up top, Darius Wright, 6 seconds. Wright drives, right layup. No, but he's fouled. Boy, if that one had fallen, he could be trying to win the game from the free throw line right now. He's fading away from the basket, in part because of the contact as he released the ball. But it hung on the rim for a second and almost went down, just didn't have enough momentum on it. 4.9 on the clock. Indiana Northwest uses up another timeout. Both these teams do have timeouts left. It's kind of felt like an unlimited supply here in overtime, but they didn't use them up early, so that's why they've got so many now late. Darius Wright is going to the free throw line. Free throws have been the bane of the Saints game today. But Aitor Anabadarte hit some big ones earlier in this second overtime. And Darius Wright is getting just his second attempt from the line today. He missed on his first try. Darius Wright, a good free throw shooter overall. He's at just under 75%. Saints as a team today from the line, 16 of 27, which is not a good number, but they're 5 of 6 on free throws here during double overtime. So they've hit them when they've counted down the stretch playing from behind. They didn't hit them down the stretch earlier when they were playing from ahead and could have put the game away a half hour ago. But these are quite obviously the biggest ones of the game, maybe the biggest of the season for any St. Francis player. Saints do not want to drop to 1 and 2 in conference play. Darius Wright's first shot is no good. So 5 seconds left. Still got a little bit of time to make it, foul, and try to get the ball back, but we'll see. Wright may look to miss this one intentionally. He didn't. He made it, so they'll try for the steal or the foul here, get the ball back, and try to win it that way. Into Jared Johnson, and he's fouled immediately. 3.5 on the clock. So very fitting. It seems the Saints may lose this game on a free throw. Fitting because that's been one of the big stories of the game. Certainly that's been the negative story. The Saints played well most of the way. They had the lead for most of the afternoon, but the reason they couldn't hold that lead is because they couldn't make their shots from the line. And here with the game on the line, they're not able to make one again. Can Johnson make his? He gets the first. (93-91). One more shot coming. Johnson makes the second. So it's 94-91. St. Francis uses up another timeout. This one's not over. 3.5 seconds is plenty of time to get down the floor. and get a good look at the basket from three-point range. You'd expect them to try a long pass, but even if they get it in the backcourt, 3.5 seconds is enough time for 2 to 3 dribbles. So we'll see what Ryan Marks has drawn up here and how Javier Heredia wants to defend it. 94-91, double overtime, third time this year that Indiana Northwest has sent a game into a second overtime period. They're 1-1 in those two games. Their win actually came in triple overtime. St. Francis is hoping to push them there again. See if we've got any change in personnel here for the Fighting Saints to get any extra shooters onto the floor for this final chance of the overtime. Defensively, it'll be the same five that we've seen throughout this period for Indiana Northwest. Jared Johnson hit the 2 clutch free throws moments ago, 17 points in the game for him. He had just 8 in regulation, but came back to life here in OT and may have just guided his team to a win. We'll see. Jake Carley, Lewis McGlasson are both out there right now, extra shooters for the Fighting Saints. Long pass down the floor. Aitor Anabadarte turns and shoots. It's an air ball, and the clock stops with .3. I think they're going to run the clock. I don't believe that one landed, or maybe it did land out of bounds the first time. That's why they stopped it. I don't think there was a whistle. But .3 on the clock. The Saints' only chance now is to steal the inbounds pass and deflect it into the rim. It's a tall order. Miller trying to get it in. Fires it down the floor, and it's knocked down by Jared Johnson. It's a final 94-91. Indiana Northwest is victorious in this one. Tough loss for the Fighting Saints, a game they led almost the entire way. And for the second time this year here on their home floor in a conference matchup, the Fighting Saints see themselves lose a game that they were up in for more than 80% of regulation time. And the key really in both games has been converting from the line. So the Saints know at least one thing they need to work on is this one as the season rolls on, but a difficult loss to stomach today in a game that they seemed to have won several times. They had chances to win it at the end of regulation and at the end of overtime. Did not happen for them. The clutch shots went the Redhawks' way rather than the Saints. St. Francis did have one last chance with 3.5 seconds left, but they were not able to get a good-looking shot up to try to tie the score at the end there. Leading scorer for the Saints today, Carter Fahey, finished with 24 points on 10 of 17 shooting. Darius Wright had 21. Aitor Anabadarte a double-double today with 22 and 11 rebounds. Carter Fahey just missed out on that double-double. He had 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Anabadarte 11 of 13 from the free throw line. The rest of the team went just 6 of 16. Leading scorer for Indiana Northwest in their win today was Von Lillard, who finished with 26 points on 11 of 15 shooting. Isaac Standback finished with 20 and Jared Johnson with 17. Leading rebounder Lillard had 10, so a double-double for him. Standback finished with 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks to go along with his 20 points. Really good game for him as Indiana Northwest picks up the victory, improves to 3-6, 3-1 in conference as they pull in their second overtime victory, their second multiple overtime victory of the year. St. Francis falls to 2-3. Their record now stands at 1-2 in the CCAC, and that's the bad part for St. Francis, that they are now 1-3 in conference play. I think the positive that they can take away is that they're about 3 seconds away from being 3-0 in conference play this year. 2 very difficult losses. The Saints ended up shooting 41% from the field today, 36% on threes and 59 on free throws. Indiana Northwest finished at 49% overall. Just 13% on threes, 2 of 15 3-point shooting. Still managed to come away with the victory. Big stat, 78% from the free throw line. So that'll do it for our broadcast today. Thanks for tuning in. Saints fall to Indiana Northwest by a final score of 94-91. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off from the Sullivan Center in Joliet, Illinois. Have a good weekend.